Welcome back. This is going to be another astrological compatibility video, and this time Cancer and Virgo. And it's interesting because Cancer and Virgo as a romantic relationship is kind of a quiet relationship, which isn't bad. Both tend to be very homebodies. Both have typically have an interesting sense of humor, and because Cancer is ruled by the moon and typically very changeable in that way, Virgo is ruled by Vesta, which is the virgin and the prostitute, and so also has an interesting dichotomy in their personality. And you know, both tend to also have kind of a okay, this is going to be odd to say, but kind of an OCD quality, just simply in that they like their routines. They both tend to like to have things done in a certain way, in a certain order. Not necessarily because they want that, but because it provides a certain sense of security. And Cancer in particular, you really crave a certain sense of security in your romantic relationships that a Virgo can often provide. And Virgos tend to, out of all the earth signs, tend to be probably the most emotional of them, and they really appreciate your ability to nurture them. Now, that being said, they're typically Capricorn and Virgo either, sorry, Capricorn, Cancer and Virgo, what I've seen is either it depends on what kind of Cancerian you are and what kind of Virgoan that you are. It can be very nice, a very gentle and nurturing relationship, or it can be a very feisty relationship and with a very large set of differences in values. Now, Cancer, you rule the fourth house, which is the mother, and I liken it to the kitchen in a house. And so, if you're the kind of Cancerian that likes to keep your kitchen um, immaculately clean, you'll probably find that you get along very well with someone with strong Virgo placements. And if you're a Virgo that is much more attuned, kind of like if you have a fair amount of Libran placements or like Venus stuff or like seventh house stuff, you probably will really appreciate a Cancerian who is much more artsy and eclectic. But there can be both kinds, so it really depends. And you're within two signs of each other, especially sun sign wise. That's not typically a really big matchup, but it's also not a horrible matchup. Um, and this is going to be kind of funny to say, and I'm a Capricorn, so I tend to say things like this, but both signs tend to have a bit of neuroticism, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, as the mother and ruling of the fourth house in the kitchen, that makes sense. Like if you think of somebody who is like a cook or a chef who's managing meals for a lot of different important people, you need to have that certain set of drive to make sure the little things are right, that the safety is right in there. And a Virgo, who rules the sixth house, which is all about health and personal development, and in a house would be like the utility room slash pantry slash laundry room. So like there you're both going to have a drive for making sure that the chores are done and that things are secure and that there isn't too much emergency stuff going on. But therein is the irony, is that you typically can increase in each other that neuroticism, and that like getting lost in anxiety for that matter. And interestingly enough, I've noticed there are a fair amount of both Cancerians and Virgoans who are Enneagram 6 type, which typically do, they both have kind of a collective council of voices in their minds, half of whom are like ego driven and all about being careful of things that need to be feared, and then the other half, which is like, follow your heart, go have fun, don't be so worried, and so, it can go either way. Either you could find it a very quiet and pleasant type relationship between Cancer and Virgo, Virgo and Cancer, or it could be one of those where you both kind of drive each other nuts. Like, I could see a Virgo just being driven nuts with the way that a Cancerian choose their food, or tends to prefer eating way more sweets than is healthy for them. And Cancer, I could see you being, much more annoyed by Virgo's need for kind of minimalism, or even on the opposite side, kind of a hoarding style, like being very, like, we have to keep everything and we have to use everything, um, I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag between Cancer and Virgo. Anyways, if you have your own experiences to share in the comments below, I love to read them. And if you have any specific questions, please feel free to leave them there also. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.